This is a download from BFM 89.9, the business station.
Good afternoon, this is Tech Talk. Now, remember Friendster? Before MySpace and Facebook, there was Friendster. Now, first launched in 2002, Friendster attracted tens of millions of users all around, over the years. Now, but it never quite grew into an online juggernaut that it could have been. Here with me today is Ganesh Kumar Bangah, the CEO of MOL Global. Now, you've purchased Friendster for $26.4 million back in December 2009. What was the reasoning in purchasing Friendster?
Sure. When we purchased Friendster, it wasn't as many people speculated to compete with Facebook. But we saw that Friendster would be able to assist to grow the MOL business. And we saw there were three intrinsic values in Friendster. The first one being its brand. Friendster was a recognized global brand. At that time, MOL was a relatively unknown brand, especially in places like the Valley. So whenever we tried to open doors to try to work with the Facebooks and Zyngas of the world, it was difficult to work with them because we were just basically a small Malaysian, or we were perceived to be a small Malaysian company. Okay. So the Friendster brand actually enabled us to actually open a lot of those doors. And ever since we bought Friendster, we've actually done partnerships with Facebook, with Zynga, with Electronic Arts as well. The second reason why we bought it was its community. MOL at that time had 400,000 registered members, and it took us 10 years to go from 0 to 400,000 registered members, out of which 6% of those members at that time spent like $50 to $60 a month. So we thought Friendster had 100 over million registered members. If we could get 1% of those members to become MOL members, and if we could get 5 to 6% of them to spend 150 ringgit a month, it actually would make sense. And since then, actually, in the last 2 years, we've grown MOL's member base from 400,000 members to 1.5 million members. So that alone proved worthwhile to do the acquisition. The third was basically the intellectual property. Friendster, being the world's pioneer social network, had a lot of the core social networking patents, and we saw some value in that, and we knew that we could monetize that.
Is it difficult to start something new instead of buying something like Friendster?
So it's not easy to build a website with 115 million registered members, right? It's actually very, very difficult. It's not just the amount of money you need to spend just to build a brand or to build a community is huge. Let alone patents. You can't you can't just spend a lot of money to build patents. So it's not easy to build something like Friendster from ground up.
Now, Friendster, was generating a lot of heavy traffic in Asia. Yeah. In your opinion, why do you think there was a lot of traction in Asia specifically?
Sure. So there were a couple of reasons. It just so happened that the founder within Jonathan Abrams' circle of friends. So, of course, being the founder, basically, Jonathan would have invited his friends to actually join Friendster. And one of them was a Filipino girl. And that Filipino girl invited her friends in the Philippines. And basically, that grew the virality of Friendster in the Philippines, which then grew to Malaysia and Indonesia and Singapore.
Right. Now, fast forward to today. Friendster is completely different. However, when you brought Friendster, when you purchased it, you still kind of maintained its social networking element. Was this part of the whole idea when you did a relaunch? It was a small relaunch when you did take over. Was this still part of the idea to still maintain its like social networking element? Because it's very different now, but we'll get to that later on. It's not a social networking platform anymore. It's more of a gaming platform.
Sure.
But there was still that social networking element when you first took over. Was this part of the plan to still carry on with this?
Sure. So we actually redeveloped Friendster from the ground up. Of course, that takes time. So when we bought over the company, we took a bit of time to understand the company, understand what were the levers we would need to actually gain a maximum traffic and returns from the company. And we decided a couple of months later that to redevelop the platform would be in Asia would be the best way to do it. So of course that takes time. So in the meantime, we launched a gaming component on the old Friendster, and then subsequently developed the new Friendster and launched it.
And it took a year. Was it a year or
it's about a year? Yeah.
All right. And now you're basically a social gaming platform.
Right.
But then aren't you like competing against, like the Battle.nets or the PlayStation networks or the Xbox Live? Because that is huge as well. So in a way, are you competing with them?
I wouldn't say Xbox Live or Battle.net are competitors to us because there are few technological differences and there are also kind of like genre differences. So if you look at Battle.net or Xbox Live, they're mainly more for client games or console games, whereas Friendster is for web games. And it's not just a gaming component, it's also a social discovery and social gaming platform. So technologically, we're web-based and Xbox Live is client-based. The second difference is in terms of genre. Basically, on Friendster, is more casual. It's more everyday games that you can play on the web rather than Xbox Live or Battle.net, which is more hardcore kind of gaming.
What are some of the games that we can actually expect on Friendster that we can actually now look forward to Friendster?
Sure, we have 56 games on Friendster. One of the best games is a game called Booms. Booms is actually a Chinese developed browser game that's been doing extremely well in Malaysia and Southeast Asia and also in China. So we localized the game in Malaysia and we put it on Friendster and we're getting quite a lot of traction.
And a lot of the games are basically are started up in that part of the region, in China, in Korea, and then they brought it over here. Is there a reason why?
So of course, if you look at massively multiplayer online games, it started the whole industry started in Korea, and then just because of China's size, it then grew into China. And then China basically, with their low cost and tons of people basically became a juggernaut in developing online games.
And there's a huge traction here as well. I mean, there's a huge followers
So a lot of massively multiplayer online games here actually licensed from China and then published in Malaysia for the Southeast Asian region.
All right, I'm speaking to Ganesh Kumar Bangah, the CEO of MOL Global, talking about Friendster, and in just a moment, we'll talk about the long-term plan, BFM 89.9. Jeff Sandhu here, and with me today is Ganesh Kumar Bangah, the CEO of MOL Global. We're obviously talking about Friendster. It's not the site that we all used to know. Now, how long has the new Friendster been launched, and how's the response been so far?
Sure. So the new Friendster has been around for about 9 months now, but we did an official relaunch in Manila in April, and we announced the relaunch in Malaysia a couple of weeks ago. Traction has been pretty good. We've been getting a large number of increase in users. Like on a month-to-month basis, we have a 50% increase in users since our relaunch. So, and we're also starting to see a lot of people play games, chatting on our new chatting platform. And so it's been a pretty good response so far.
And it's still based in Asia? The traction is still very much in Asia still?
Yeah, it's very much in Southeast Asia, but we've been getting an increasing amount of traction from India as well. Yeah.
And is there any plans to try to push it more globally, though, more towards the States, towards the Europe, or is it just very difficult to tap into this that market?
I wouldn't say it's very difficult, but I would say focus is important. And since we are a recognizable brand here in Asia, and we are here in Asia, it just makes sense to tap on where we are closer to and we understand better.
All right. Now, going forward, what makes you think that Friendster, the gaming platform now, will survive, say, 5 to 10 years' time?
Sure. So Friendster is basically an extension of the MOL business. MOL has been here over the last 12 years, and we essentially make money as a payment platform for online games. We work with 100 over different publishers. Today, our game revenue is over 10 million US a month, over 30 million ringgit a month, and we've seen growth 100% year on year. Just based on that, we're confident that Friendster will grow as well, the same way MOL grows, and we have the experience, expertise, and track record to turn Friendster into a successful, viable business.
This is not exactly like Facebook's games, like the Farmville and the Mafia Wars and all. These are completely different. These are based on games, and then there's the social aspect to it. So your games are they free? Do you have to pay for it? And what's the conditions like? Because we all know with Facebook, you can actually play the games for free. But if you want additional this kind of things and that, you got to buy the coins, and the coins is you got to use your money with PayPal and stuff. So is it the same?
MOL.
And MOL. Is it the same kind of mechanism that you use for Friendster as well?
Yeah. So basically, it's a free-to-play platform. But then you would basically, to actually succeed in the game, you actually need to spend money. And if you look at MOL's track record, every person that spends money spends like $50 to $60 a month. That's 3 times mobile prepaid revenue.
And mobile, we've seen a lot of potential on mobile gaming. What's Friendster doing in the mobile space?
Sure. So there's a lot of successful models worldwide on mobile. Actually, today 50% of Friendster's traffic actually comes from mobile. So we're seeing a lot of traffic coming from mobile. We now have a HTML5 mobile version. So if you use your Android or iPhone and go to Friendster, you'll see like 15, 20 games that we're constantly adding on mobile. And we're also launching an iOS and Android version of Friendster as well. So and soon you may see a Friendster App Store on Android.
Right, so there will be an App Store. Okay, cool. How do you actually plan to keep your games fresh? Is there a cycle that you carry on?
Sure.
Or is it just as if that game is popular, then we will just push it out?
So we have a business development team based out of Singapore, Malaysia and the Philippines that constantly actually goes and signs up game publishers to come on board the platform, and we roughly add about a game a week.
All right. You plan to achieve 10 million active users by end of the year.
Yeah.
How are you doing this? What are you doing this to achieve this goal?
Sure. So the number of things we did over the last couple of months to achieve the 10 million active users. One, we actually invested a substantial amount of money on Friendster advertising, on Facebook advertising. So you actually see a lot of Friendster ads on Facebook recently, and we went like our fan base on Facebook actually went from 0 to I think over 150,000 in the last 1 month based on that. So we're getting a lot of traffic coming from Facebook, ironically. We've launched our Friendster Hotspots and Friendster iCafe here in Malaysia. So of course, if you go to the hotspots in Starbucks or Old Town, you actually see a Friendster branded interface that then pushes you to Friendster.
So these are locally developed products, right?
Yes,
Friendster, Hotspots and iCafe.
That's right.
So, okay, so let's go through Hotspots. Hotspots is a Wi-Fi that you basically provide to...
It's a free Wi-Fi funded by us in Starbucks, Old Town and a ton of other retail. We've got like 300 retail outlets, and we reach out to about 1.5 million members on a monthly basis.
And they basically get your branding presence when they when they logged into your Friendster hotspot.
That's right.
And they open the web browser, it will load a Friendster webpage and stuff, right?
That's right.
And then what about the Friendster iCafe then?
So Friendster iCafe is a free cyber cafe management software that we give out to cyber cafes for free. And we've got like over 300 cyber cafes in Malaysia using it. And we deliver like 200 banner ads, all that actually will push people more to Friendster and our sponsors.
All right. I wish you all the best in your adventures with Friendster. That was Ganesh Kumar Bangah, the CEO of MOL Global, talking about all the brand new stuff on Friendster, BFM 89.9.
Thank you for listening to this podcast. To find more great interviews, go to bfm.my or find us on iTunes. BFM 89.9, the business station.